Hi and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be looking at sowing my vegetable seeds. In the last video you might have seen I was preparing my vegetable bed outside for sowing into directly. So now that I have that ready, it's time to get the seed down. So I have my seeds all laid out here in terms of what I'm going to do. A couple of plants or seeds that I have to do in my outdoor grow house. You can probably see it out the window there. I'll give you a closer look shortly. That just need to be started kind of inside and not out in the cold for now. Ornamental gourds I'm going to try for the first time this year. So they need to be inside until they grow their first 4 set of true leaves. I suppose generally any seedling that germinates will have seed leaves initially. So maybe just looking at the tomato plants here that I did back in late February are a good example. So you can see there's a couple of seedlings that were late to germinate. So again, these are the seed leaves and they hold lots of nutrients and energy for the plant while it's getting going. And then you have what are the true leaves of the plant that will help identify a plant emerging then. And the seed leaves eventually will generally tend to yellow and possibly drop off in the end. But you can see 4 of these tomato plants have developed a set of true leaves. Actually, there's more starting to emerge here as well on this one. So again, these gourds need to be kept inside until they have 4 sets of true leaves. Sweet corn as well, just going to start it inside. It can be planted out in early May then. So again, 2 of those will go into the little grow house. What else do I have? I have radish, pak choy and spinach. This year I'm going to grow them all in window boxes. I'm not going to actually plant them today, just showing you what I'm doing. Just it's good to have an outlay of what you're going to do this for the year. So I'll get to them tomorrow or the day after. What I am going to be putting into the bed then today are red onion. So again, you can see I have my labels done already with what I'm planting and also the date on the back. So I have my onions, beetroot, carrot, broad bean. I ran out of labels, so I just had to make up my own little flags here in terms of what I had lying around. So I just bit of sellotape and paper to waterproof them, and then just stuck them on the little stick there. That'll do fine. Then, so it's a good mixture here. So again, you can see the spinach, pak choy and radish should be fairly short-lived crops. Onion, beetroot, carrot, kind of longer, medium-term crops. Broad bean, similar. And then I have Brussels sprouts and broccoli, which are longer-term crops. So they'll be kind of 6 months or more in the ground. Kind of, it won't be ready till next February or so to consume. Well, actually, the Brussels sprouts will be ready before that, obviously. But again, they will be longer in the ground. Broccoli will be early next year before that's ready. And then I have garlic. Yeah, garlic is going down today as well. So that's a nice array of crops there. Some I didn't grow last year, and decided to stay away from some stuff I grew last year just to change it up a bit. So first of all, I'm going to plant these. So I have them labeled already. So you can see on this side I have sweet corn. So that triangle will hold sweet corn, and this triangle will hold the gourds here. And again, I can transplant them outside then once they have developed sufficiently. Possibly something I've mentioned before, just a very simple thing when opening your seed packets as well. A lot of people tend to rip from the top here and kind of leave the packet. You're ripping off some of the information here on the top back side of it then. So look, at the bottom, they pull open at this side. There's a natural opening. You can take out your seeds, and then you can, like an envelope, you can fold it and maybe a bit of sellotape just to reseal it. And again, it keeps all the information. It keeps the seed packet intact. It's not ripped. Just a simple thing to kind of maybe, because when you put down your seeds, I'll have a basic label for it. It will say sweet corn, whatever. But if I need to reference back, I know the seed packet will be in my seed box here, and I can just go back to it for reference if I need to. So again, always good to try and keep those seed packets with all the information on them if you do need to address it at some stage. So here I have my seeds, and here's my sweet corn. So that's what the sweet corn seed looks like. So I'm just going to plant 6 of them. I don't want too many of them either. So I have the little holes pre-made here already. So I'm just going to pop it in there. There's no, doesn't necessarily matter which way you put them in as such. And there you go. And then I have my gourd seeds here, so I see they're very similar to pumpkin or squash or whatever. Obviously the same family, so I'm just gonna pop them in there as well. And just cover them over. The soil is already moist. I've wet that before I brought it inside. Just gave it to make sure it was nice and wet. As I said, as I always say, it's easier to have the soil wet prior to planting rather than trying to wet it after sowing seeds. Can be a bit messy sometimes. So again, there you go. That's them. I'll pop them in the little grow house outside, and then I'll get these other ones into the ground. So that's the sweet corn and the gourd's gone in there into the little grow house that I have here. So you can see there's plenty of other seedlings growing in there as well. So again, they'll be fine in there until they need to be transplanted out into the ground. So here's the bed that everything is going into. So I have everything marked out. I have the labels down, and the whatever's going into the ground is placed in front of them there. So I have, again, garlic, onions, beetroot, carrots. I might do another line of garlic there as well. Garlic can be used as a companion planting along with other vegetables to ward off other pests. So they can be somewhat helpful in that regard. And I'm going to plant some marigold that I have in the grow house as well, along with these guys, just as good as a companion plant. So again, up here I have my broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and broad beans, so there's a bit more space between those because those plants will get, actually I probably might even move that a bit further down because they will need that extra bit of space once they get, they're longer term crops, they get bigger. And then this gap here, but that's where the sweet corn and the gourds will go in once they're ready to go. And again, I have my transplanted rhubarb up there, it's doing great. So what I'll do, the planting for the onion, beetroot and carrot is quite similar, so I'll just show you one of those. I'll show you planting the garlic, and then I will just show you planting one of these as well, and then that'll give you a good indication as to how to go forward with the rest of them. So with the garlic bulb, then you separate, you pull off the cloves, however many cloves you're going to put down. So this part here, the flatter part would be the base, and this is the tip. You can see there's a small bit of growth after coming on that one already. So I might even, I might use one of these ones instead. So again, I have the holes made here already. And just to make sure with your garlic as well, that you're having well drained soil. Now they don't like to dry out either, but again, they don't like to be sitting in water. So I'm going to pop these just in like that. It's quite straightforward. You can grow garlic in pots as well, as long as the pots are deepish and again well drained. And then we go, and number 4, here we go. So that's fairly straightforward, and as I said, I'll put another row of them up here as well, but again, just firm it over. And that's the garlic in. Now again, so each clove there will form a full bulb, so you get, out of that you get 4 bulbs of garlic out of 4 cloves, so that's a great return. And again, I'll give this whole area a light water when I'm finished, but there's rain expected here later anyway, but again, I'll give it a light water myself anyway, just to be sure. So this is for, my onions here. So what I'm going to do here with my onions, my beetroot and my carrots, I'm going to plant them in clusters, so groups, as opposed to putting down the seed individually. So what I'm doing is I have like 3 holes made here, largish. So what I'm going to do is, 3 little craters, I'm going to put 4 to 5 seeds into each one of these and let them grow together. It just means that I can plant more onions than I would if I just did a single row of them myself. And again, I'm not doing them for sustenance or anything like that, in terms of not sustenance is the word, be self-sufficient or anything like that, but I just want to grow on a few onions. But again, I get a higher yield out of this space if I put 3 or 4 together. And again, when they're ready for harvest, I can pick 1 or 2 as I need them. I don't have to harvest them all together. So it just means I can plant more in a smaller space, and still get a good yield out of it. So again, I have laid 4 seeds in this hole, 4 in this. I have yet to put them into here. I'm just going to pop them in now. So again, that's the seeds laid down. It's going to be the same process for the beetroot and for the carrots. So I won't show you doing that, but this is the exact same process I'll be using. So I'm going to cover them over, just a light, just make sure they're firm in, but not packing them in too tight either. Again, give it a quite ruffle over, and I'll give that, again, as I said, I'll give that a little water as when all done here as well. Next up is the broad beans. Again, fairly sizable seed on them. I have them laid out in the soil already here. The reason I have them laid out in pairs is that it's for support. So what I'll do is once they get going, because they can grow quite tall, up to about 1.2, maybe 1.5 meters. So again, I will put a cane or something in between, in here, and here, and so that cane can act as support for both plants then. And again, it's a fairly simple process to plant them, and they're fairly easy to grow, the broad beans. Again, just pushing them into the soil with my finger, not too far, but again, just enough to go down. Similar here. Always plant them on their side as well, and just cover that over. And Bob's your uncle. It's a fairly straightforward process with the broad beans, and you generally great results out of them. One thing you need to look out for them is black fly, but again, they love the growing tips of the plant, so a good idea when they reach about 1.2 meters to pinch out the growing tips, and again that helps the plant to bush out as well, and concentrate on flowering and getting beans out of it. And last but not least, then I have broccoli here. Again, it'll be the same as the Brussels sprouts. So again, little seed there, and I have just 3 holes made there. I'm going to pop 2 seeds into each, and I'll just, whichever seedling out of those 2 is the strongest for each hole, I'll keep, because they're going to get quite big anyway. And I don't want too many of them, so 3 is more than enough. Same with the Brussels sprouts. I might only put two or 3 in for those as well. Again, so the similar process. I've made a small little hole there. I'm going to pop the seeds into it now. So that's the seeds popped into the holes there. So again, I'm just going to lightly firm them in there, and they'll be fine. And I meant to say the reason I have this bamboo cane along the back here is I'm going to put flowers, some taller flowering plants, like the sunflowers, maybe some opium poppies, maybe some cosmos or something like that. So again, want a bit of colour at the back there. And again, it's kind of just from experience last year, it's kind of a little bit too far to reach back as well in terms of trying to harvest things as well. So it just makes it easier, so I don't have to be compacting the soil by leaning across it or anything like that. So I'm just making things easy for myself this year. So again, I'll just pop in the rest of the seeds then and give you a look at the finished bed. So that's all the seeds put in now. So again, I won't see any results out of that for a few weeks, but again, it's nice to have them in. I'll just give them a quick water now, and it'll all be ready. So we'll keep an eye on them as they grow, and I'll keep you updated on the progress. Okay, thanks very much.